Hello, I'm Sifu Michael Fuchs, and I'm here to talk to you today about my book, The 7 Jewels of Reiki. I have it right here. This is a book from esteemed publisher Lotus Press, which is one of the finest publishers of books on spiritual arts, meditation, Reiki healing arts, and similar topics. So I'm very happy and proud to be published by them. And they've asked me to make a little video talking about this book. Again, this book is called The 7 Jewels of Reiki. And the book serves as an introduction and overview of the Japanese art, originally from Japan, of Reiki healing, which is known traditionally as Usui Reiki Ryoho. The art is named after the founder. Now, Usui Reiki Ryoho just means Usui's Reiki healing method. So you see him on the wall here above me. This is the founder, Grandmaster Usui, Dr. Usui, as he's often known. And so this book, The 7 Jewels of Reiki, is meant to be an overview and serve as a textbook for Reiki students and teachers of the 7 core areas of the art of Reiki as it was originally taught and how it was transferred to the Western world by a lady by the name of Reverend Hawayo Takata. She was Japanese, her parents were from Japan. She was born in Hawaii, second generation Japanese Hawaiian. And the 7 core areas of the original art, again, in the book, I outline, diagram, and describe in depth. As you can see, this is a very digestible book. It's not like a huge tome. I like to think it's very easily read, okay, easy to read. I've been writing my whole life and had several other books and many articles published. At any rate, so these 7 jewels, these are the Reiki attunement, or Reiju, the meditative aspect of the art, which is represented by the Gassho Mudra, Gassho, also known as Namaskar and various other prayer position. You know, it's a fairly well-known gesture in the arts, East and West. The Reiki symbols, the Reiki mantra, the Reiki Qigong methods, and the Reiki healing methods, which are the most well-known and famous parts of the art, you know, using the hands for Reiki energy healing. And then, of course, the Reiki principles, which are known, again, one of the ways they're referred to in Japanese is Gokai, or the 5 principles or concepts as they were passed on by the founder, his original teachers, and by most Reiki people around the world. Okay, so I introduced those, I described them in detail, and then the book also is an introduction of my Reiki style, which is called Butterfly Reiki System, the Butterfly Reiki System. Okay, so now myself, I have a background, just to give you a little background about myself, formerly of almost 40 years now, training in Asian martial arts, healing arts, meditative arts, energy arts, yogic arts, originally Chinese and then Filipino, Japanese, Indian, Tibetan, Burmese. I began training with formally, and I'm a lifelong student, I guess you'd say. I was a meditator as a child, read books on Asian philosophy and concepts. I loved martial arts from childhood. I was, you know, again, in the 60s and 70s as these things were becoming known in our culture. And at a certain point began formal training. Met a great teacher from one of the original lineages of the arts here in the West. Again, began learning Tai Chi and Qigong, meditation, and then branched out because I was interested in everything into Indian arts, concepts, philosophies, meditation, yoga. Read books by Paramahansa Yogananda, Self-Realization Fellowship, SRF, and on. Along the way became an instructor under my instructor, and then took his school over and trained with, again, many other well-known teachers. Again, this is on my website. If I get into all this, it's going to take too long, so excuse me. But along the way, I heard about Reiki, and actually I was quite skeptical. This was about 10 years into my training and teaching. I was already a Sifu, a master level teacher at that point, and read a book by Dr. Barbara Weber Ray, who was one of the early disciples of the lady that brought Reiki to the Western world. I have a copy of it here. It's a tremendous book, okay? Dr. Barbara Weber Ray, very metaphysical. And again, Reiki is, I describe it in the 7 Jewels of Reiki and a diagram and outline. It's a very natural art. So anyone could learn this art, you know, even children that of a certain age. It's very natural, similar to like the way we eat food. I chew the food, I swallow it. Everything else happens naturally as long as I'm healthy. My body absorbs the nutrients it needs. It expels the waste it doesn't need. And I don't have to direct or control that process. So Reiki healing is very much like this. It's even easier because we don't have to chew it and swallow it. Okay? But so I described this in the book, and when I read this in Dr. Barbara Weber Ray's book, this is in the mid-90s, around 95, you know, it just didn't seem, based on my previous training, like someone cannot gain spiritual energy healing ability this simply, which is what Reiki is. It's a spiritual energy healing system and various elements, again, as I refer to the 7 Jewels of Reiki. But I was open-minded, even though I was quite skeptical, I have to say, and I described this in the book. And shortly thereafter, I had a Reiki session, and let's just say the rest is history, because it relieved so much stress. It was so powerful. I had a 30-minute session on a table with a very skilled traditional Reiki master teacher from the John Harvey Gray lineage here in New England. That was the first, he was the first Reiki teacher here in New England where I live. And I had to sit down for 30 minutes after this 30-minute session. It relieved so much stress and had a huge positive effect on my life, including I was able to drop a very bad habit I had at the time, like that. When I drove away, I just thought, and I went in there skeptical and just dropped it. So then shortly after learned, and I've, again, along the way, I've, again, just being really enthusiastic student and teacher, learned a variety of different Reiki styles and methods, including, you know, Mrs. Takada's methods and those through John Harvey Gray and his teachers, and then onward and outward. Because I'm so busy at the time, especially teaching, many of my students were Reiki teachers and practitioners. And so say I was teaching them Tai Chi, we would exchange knowledge. I would share with them my Reiki knowledge, they would share with me, and you know, I'd go to events and healing sessions. And so I had a great base of Reiki training and then related arts. And then I met the person that was the most responsible for my knowledge and ability to write the books that I've written. His name is Dr. Mong Ji, Dr. G, G-Y-I. He is originally from Burma, and he came here in 1950. After World War II, his country was destroyed, and he is regarded as a living legend. He's in his 90s now. I met him when he was in his mid-70s. He is a polymath. He's like a super genius in many different arts and fields. Academics, he was a professor for decades, a highly decorated professor, expert in not only Burmese, but many other nations' styles of martial arts, healing arts, yogic arts. He is a super highly skilled body worker, energy worker, spiritual energy worker. You know, he lived in temples as a child and trained all over the world. His father and his family were very influential in Burma and well known. At any rate, so I met him at a martial arts clinic in 2000, 2001, and it was like the spring of 2001. Now, my teacher gave him the very highest recommendation. He had known him, and my teacher's teacher knew him, being pioneers as well, going back to the 50s. Anyway, long story short, I went to the seminar, martial arts seminar, upstate New York, attended by leading martial arts teachers from around the nation, and it became evident right away that this man had tremendous knowledge in yogic arts, healing arts, qigong, Reiki arts. So he was very kind. He liked me because he knew my teacher and his teacher. And long story short, he began visiting my school, and I went to places where he was teaching at. He has students in the area, like a long time, going back decades. And for instance here, this is me with Dr. G. He took ordination later in life, so you see him in like a monk's robes and outfit from his Burmese traditions. This is him leading a workshop at my school around 2001, 2002 in spiritual energy healing methods. He asked me what I wanted him to teach me. And since I had great martial arts training already, I said, geez, Dr. G, please share some of your knowledge and wisdom regarding spiritual energy healing to enhance our knowledge of Reiki healing arts. Now, he also took traditional Usui Reiki training. Again, he's quite a guy. So, again, he began visiting and teaching and corresponding and sharing documents with me and knowledge and wisdom. And what I did was I put all this together over the years into what I call butterfly Reiki system, the various Reiki styles that I've learned and studied, Dr. G's arts and methods, which, again, being such a iron master chef of these arts, he was able to share with me methods from his lineages, ancient from Burma, that fit right in with Reiki healing. In fact, when I first met him, I asked him, I said, geez, Dr. G, you know about Reiki? And it was like I had insulted him. Again, he's an elder grandmaster, very famous. And he said, young man, Reiki comes from my country. Now, he didn't mean literally Japanese Reiki because it's from Burma, but methods like Reiki, which are very ancient. Though again, Usui's Reiki is unusual now. We don't need to live in a temple. Anyone can learn. So at any rate, some of my background in the arts, and there's quite a bit more at my website. It's shaolinbutterfly.com, SHAOLIN butterfly.com. And there's links to purchase this book, The 7 Jewels of Reiki, which of course is also on Amazon, Lotus Press, and various other places that sell books like this. You'll see it there. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy. And I wish you well, and have a most wonderful day. Thank you.